noting that the most globally common among the new variants is the British strain. But he affirmed that the Sultanate has advanced facilities to detect it through all labs, whether at the Ministry of Health or Sultan Qaboos University or private sector universities. The minister explained that recently the number of ICU and hospital inpatients soared to 102 from its record low level of 51 by 21st of January 2021. The number of tests conducted in the Sultanate till yesterday stood at 1.550 million, said the minister, who pointed out that the number of Pfizer and BioNTech vaccination doses that were distributed stood at 39,772, given to 27,400 people as a first shot and to 12,272 people as a second dose. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq has issued a royal decree reading as follows. Royal Decree number 15/2021 on implementing the unified system of extending insurance protection to GCC military personnel operating in the GCC member states other than their own, shall be applied in accordance with the version attached to this decree, bearing in mind the following. The provisions of the Law of Post-Service Pensions and Gratuities for Personnel of Defense Ministry and Sultan Armed Forces, issued under Royal Decree 3/2002, shall apply to the Defense Ministry and Sultan's Armed Forces, Omani military personnel operating in GCC military units governed by the GCC military retirement systems from among those who do not get pension from the Sultanate. The ceiling of a salary subject to subscription, as per the start of the salary band of a corresponding rank, shall be in line with the system enforced at the Defense of Ministry in the Sultanate. The entitlement of the personnel governed by the system attached shall be restricted to the pension. The pension shall be calculated at the rate of 2.5% of the monthly average of the subscribable salary received during the last 5 years of service, multiplied by the number of service years to a maximum of 80% of the average and subscribable salary. The family of the deceased retiree, as per the system attached, shall be entitled to the grant of 1,000 Omani riyals. Article 2 stipulates that the Ministry of Finance shall pay the subscription difference between the contribution of the country stated in the Law of Post-Service Pensions and Gratuities for Personnel of Defense Ministry and the Sultan Armed Forces, and the laws in the military retirement systems in the country where the military person works. Article 3 instructs all military and security departments that apply to their respective personnel the law of post-service pensions and gratuities for personnel of Defense Ministry and Sultan Armed Forces, or any other military retirement law to register their GCC employees and to pay the prescribed subscriptions in accordance with the system attached to this decree. Article 4 states that the Deputy Prime Minister for the Defense Affair shall issue all regulations and decisions necessary for the implementation of the system attached to this decree. Article 5 cancels all that contradicts this decree or its attached system or contravenes their provisions. Article 6 says that this decree shall be published in the official gazette and informs with effect from June 1, 2011. The ministry will launch the late Sultanate space policy in the current year, and it is hoped that the Omani satellite will be launched in 2024 to serve the public and private sectors, and it will be used in the telecommunications, cybersecurity, and other fields to be researched and studied. More than 80% of the Sultanate's digital economy is based on telecommunications. The vision of the ministry is to create an integrated system for transportation, communication, information technology, and social welfare. There are a number of small and medium companies operating in the field of space in the Sultanate, and we are working to establish a space club to increase the culture of society in this field and to define ways to benefit from it. The minister added the ministry has embraced emerging technology companies whose revenue has reached 7 million Omani riyals. The ministry seeks to create a suitable number of jobs every 5 years and to score 65 points in network readiness, which makes the Sultanate among the best 40 countries around the world. The Sultanate has made remarkable progress in the field of cybersecurity, as it is ranked second in the Arab world and 16th globally. When cyber attacks occur, we are compelled to preserve the information unless the source of attacks is identified. Those are our local stories for today. We will take a small commercial break and we will be back with our international stories.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to the Midday Update, and now with our international stories. Japan's lower house of parliament on Monday approved bills making it possible for the government to impose fines on people and businesses thwarting requests to follow the country's measures and to combat the spread of the novel coronavirus. Initial plans to introduce prison sentences for COVID-19 patients in Japan refusing to be hospitalized were abandoned last week by ruling and main opposition parties following criticism and the punishment was too severe. The ditch plans involved making legal revisions to an existing law that would have made it possible for prison sentences of up to 1 year or a fine of up to 1 million yen, which is $9,529, to be handed down to the COVID-19 patients refusing hospitalization. Previous plans were to also introduce fines up to 500,000 yen for businesses that refuse to shorten their opening hours and close earlier under a state of emergency, and up to 300,000 yen for businesses not under a state of emergency, but were antivirus requests that have been made by local prefectures. The fines have now been lowered to 300,000 yen and 200,000 yen respectively. Under the state of the emergency that is now set to be extended according to the informed sources and local media Monday evening. Restaurants and bars have been asked to close by 8 p.m. local time and people asked to refrain from making unnecessary trips outdoors, especially in the evenings. The government has also urged people to work from home and large events have seen their attendance capacity capped. Japan, while seeing a downward trend in COVID-19 cases recently, is still grappling to bring the virus spread under control. On Monday, 1,792 new COVID-19 infections were reported across the country, bringing the nation's total tally of cases to 392,475. The country's death toll has now risen to a total of 5,846 people, according to the latest statistics Monday evening. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government on Monday, for its part, reported 393 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the capital, with the city's cumulative total of infections rising to 100,234. Loss of smell is one of the symptoms experienced by the people infected with the coronavirus. Now, scientists in Sweden hope a unique comparison of brain images taken before and after the infection might shed a light on the phenomenon that seems to be very common. Sweden's public television SVT News reported Monday in an online article. We believe about 50 to 70% of those who have had COVID-19 get some of the form of problem when their senses of smell is lost. Estimating that 500,000 Swedish people have confirmed COVID-19, a significant proportion will have permanent problems. Researcher and senior lecturer at the Karolinska Institute told SVT COVID-19 destroys the support cells of olfactory sensory receptors. The new study will now investigate this theory. 20 individuals, of whom 10 have been tested positive for COVID-19, are included. Before the pandemic, all of them had their brain scanned with the magnetic resonance imaging for another research project into the olfactory sense. Now new scans will be done and compared with the old ones. Loss of smell, which seems to be more prevalent among young women who contracted COVID-19. They have been linked to other problems such as considerable weight loss, and to compensate for the loss of smell, COVID-19 patients often consume more sugar and fatty food. The condition has also been linked to the depressions if the problem is lasting. We do not know exactly why this is, but one theory is that the same parts of the brain and the process odors that are affected by the depression, and the first results are expected within 6 months. In an interview sometime this week with New York Times, Fauci recalled the time when he worked as a member of the White House coronavirus task force under the Trump administration, indicating that an early stage of COVID-19 outbreak, the former president had been trying to minimize the situation. I started to realize that there was an issue here when you would say something and try to express the gravity of the situation, and the response of the president was always leaning towards well. Fauci said, adding to that, so it was always almost a reflex response when you would explain something, coaxing you to minimize it. Talking about the Trump administration's response to the pandemic, Fauci revealed that Trump tended to make evaluations of medical interventions based on no data but notes. And that worried me very much, he said. The medical expert admitted that he was at a variant with Trump over the evaluation and handling of the crisis. According to the real-time count kept by Johns Hopkins University, the United States has recorded more than 26.9 million COVID-19 cases, with over 440,000 related deaths as of Sunday noon, leading the world with the most COVID-19 infections and deaths in the United States. Those are international stories for today. We will take a short commercial break, but don't go anywhere as we still have our sports news.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to the Midday Update, and now with our sports news. Registration for the annual youth sailing event in Masana'a Race Week is now open, with young sailors from around the world are welcome to train and compete in Oman. Set to take place in Al Musana'a Sports Complex City from 26th to 31st of October 2021. The event has traditionally brought the world and continental youth champions to the Sultanate's shores to sail against the best young sailors. This year, for the first time in the event's history, Oman Sail will mark the 11th edition by introducing a boat class for young persons with disabilities, alongside with the Optimist and Laser for 4.7 classes. Liverpool forward Takumi Minamino has joined Southampton on a loan for the remainder of 2020 to 2021 season. The Japan international has headed for St. Mary's after a deal was agreed with Southampton on the transfer deadline day. Minamino played 31 games and scored 4 goals for the Reds since arriving at the Anfield of the Red Bull Salzburg. Liverpool forward Takumi Minamino joined Southampton on loan for a remainder of the season of 2020 and 2021. The Japan international has headed to St. Mary's after the deal was agreed with Southampton on the transfer deadline day. Minamino played 31 games and scored four goals for the Reds since arriving at the Red Bull Salzburg last January. On the other hand, Liverpool completed the transfer of Ozan Kabak until the loan of the end of the season. Subject to the international clearance, the 20-year-old defender will now spend the remainder of the season of 2020 and 2021 with Liverpool. Those are our news for today. Tune in again tomorrow at the same time for more midday update. Thank you for watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk. Tons of memories.
We'll keep moving, keep moving.
Non-stop music.
TFM.
Let's